Good morning, Big J. How you doing?
I am fantastic. It's weird to see you in person.
Well, I'm kind of a weird guy. You know?
I don't know if I'd say that. I'm just
people have been saying that all over town.
Exactly.
Glad to be with you. Be glad to be here on behalf of my friend Denny. As we all know, that we got 4 days left, and so this is a very important race, and we're old friends, and I'm glad to be back. And it's a beautiful state with beautiful people, and I'm happy that some of the residents come and spend the winter with us in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. I know we do have some people that come down there and hang out with you. Why is this election so important here for? You're here for obviously for Denny, and
there's a whole lot of reasons. John Tester votes with Barack Obama down the line all the way. Denny has been in the House of Representatives. We've been fighting against Obamacare, the stimulus package, and all these. But there's a lot of veterans in Montana, Jay, and they are very concerned about this latest thing in Benghazi, where our 4 Americans were killed.
Yeah.
It's a cover-up. They should never have been put in a position where they were going to die. It's been 7 weeks now, and we still haven't gotten a straight answer from President Obama. And so our veterans should care, and our veterans can count on Denny. He's been supporting them for a long, long time, and I want to work with him in the Senate, and we need 51 votes in the Senate.
It is big, obviously.
I was doing a newspaper interview up in Kalispell last week, and they said, why isn't Congress overseeing what's going on in Libya? And I said, wait a minute. Our chairman, Darrell Issa, is back as we speak, having oversight hearings on what happened in Libya. Jason Chaffetz, some of the other members of the committee were back in Washington trying to figure it all out. And what do you hear from the United States Senate? Harry Reid, John Tester, the group that are in charge? Nothing. Crickets. Mm-hmm. And then I followed it up with, by the way, Fast and Furious in the Department of Justice and this Attorney General. What kind of investigation has gone on there? Well, Darrell Issa and his committee, he's the one that's got the jurisdiction. They've had hearings. They're trying to get to the bottom. They're having subpoenas. What are you hearing from the Senate? Nothing.
The silence is deafening. As you know,
silence.
Big J, when they got Bin Laden, which we were all overjoyed about, within 24 hours, every detail of that was shown. You saw the picture of the president in the Situation Room. Where's the president in the Situation Room when the consulate in Benghazi was being sacked and these 4 guys dying? Where is all the information that they were able to somehow get the American people very quickly after Bin Laden? But now 7 weeks and they haven't answered any of our questions.
What do you think happened? What's your feeling about the whole situation?
Well, here's what happened, and I'll be as brief as possible. There were 2 attacks on our consulate, one in June and one in April. There were ample warnings. There was our ambassador. The last message he sent before he died was he was worried about the security situation there. They had this attack. It was by an Al-Qaeda affiliated outfit. Well, they put out the story that this was a spontaneous demonstration triggered by a video. There was no demonstration. And for days after that, they kept that up. And now, as more and more information comes out, like Fox came out last night with this story of this meeting that they had that warned the State Department of the fragility of the situation and the increase in Al-Qaeda and the more probability of an attack. All of that, obviously, would be very embarrassing to the commander-in-chief. And he's not acting like a commander-in-chief by any stretch of the imagination. So that's really what this is all about. And 4 brave Americans, 3 of them, by the way, were former SEALs, and our ambassador were killed over an 8-hour fight. And you mean with all the forces we have and all the airplanes and all the ships and all the Marines that we couldn't come to those people's aid over an 8-hour fight? It's disgraceful. And every veteran I'm talking to traveling around this country, they're mad as hell. The veterans are mad as hell. They don't trust this guy, Obama, as commander-in-chief.
Very well. It is a very frustrating situation. I agree with that completely here. One of the big. What do you think the polls keep going?
I think it's too close to call.
It's too close to call. Yeah,
it's too close to call. I think Ohio is important. I think the president might have gotten a little bit of assistance because obviously he handled this disaster of Sandy well. But at the same time, it's about jobs in the economy. And he can't defend his record on the economy. And again, Mitt Romney needs 50 votes in the United States Senate for us to repeal and replace Obamacare, stop this spending. We've gone from $10 to $16 trillion debt, and it's been the United States Senate that has been helping this president along, and we need to bring these things to a halt. We can do that with Denny Rehberg in the United States Senate. And
Denny's
again,
voting.
I like John Tester, but he's been in lockstep with Barack Obama the whole way. He has voted with Barack Obama every single major vote, whether you look at it, whether it be the stimulus package or the bailout of the bank, whatever it is, you name it. John Tester, who comes back and talks an independent line here, but votes in lockstep with Barack Obama.
You know, we know Montana's going to go for Mitt Romney, so we don't really have an effect on the national presidency. But Montana can have a part in changing the direction of the country by changing the majority in the Senate and kicking Harry Reid out. There's no path to a majority in the Senate for the Republicans that does not go through Montana. We need Montana, North Dakota, Nebraska, and then possibly Wisconsin. And if we do that, the first vote will be to repeal Obamacare and replace it with the right kind of health care reform that doesn't just add people to a failing system, but truly controls the costs. And the promise was made, the price of your premium would go down on average $2,500 if you just do this. Well, the opposite has happened. The average price increase per family nationwide is $2,300. That's a $5,000 spread from where they said it was going to be. It's not solving the issue. And so we need either to take the Senate and have the presidency to do our work, or at least give me an opportunity to be a check and balance on a president if he is reelected, of not doing any more of the failed stimulus and try and turn this economy around. I'm pretty excited about having Senator McCain here. This is his second time in. He was here in August for me up in Great Falls, and he called and volunteered to come back to Billings, and it means a lot because I want to call him Chairman McCain. I think that's important for the country, and as we all know, not only was he a presidential
let's call
nominee,
him President McCain. Well, let's just go whether he is or not.
He's from Arizona. You can't win.
Or call him loser. Yeah, from Arizona, you
can't
can't win. By the way, in case you missed it, the Billings paper yesterday had a welcome to Arizona from John Tester. Take a look at the Billings Gazette tomorrow morning. We're going to have a response thanking Mr. Tester for welcoming me.
Oh, excellent.
And by the way, congratulations on being the #1 hit music station, Big J.
Thank you very much.
That's quite an accomplishment.
We tried. We fought hard for that. It was a tough race, and we made it.
How many ads do you run? Radio, television, newspaper? Was your polling any good?
Polling was solid, but we went 0 ads. We just
really? Direct mail? Didn't do any direct mail?
Speaking of the ads, what do you think about? We had your arch nemesis up here yesterday. He stopped by, and he says he wants to do away with all that outside money. He said just get rid of all of it, stop the outside money coming in.
That's an interesting comment coming from him, because at one time after Citizens United, he said, let's sign a pledge, no third-party outside contributions. And I said, John, I'll go one more for you. How about we sign a pact of no third outside advertising and no outside money, no political action committees from outside, no individuals from outside. And you know what we heard from him? Nothing. He did not. He figured out how he could gain an advantage. The only way we're ever going to really solve this thing is if we have 100% transparency, where everybody knows where every dime comes from. You don't create exceptions. And I'm sorry, there are some of the good guys that want exceptions as well as the others. And no, there should be no exceptions. It ought to be 24-hour notification on the internet for $1. Let the people of America know who's putting money into this.
Yeah.
But when I challenged him, I said, fine, I'll go along with you. Let's make it complete. No outside money. Let's have this a made in Montana campaign. He turned it down because he didn't have an unfair advantage.
That's crazy. And he made it sound like he was for it.
And this campaign really isn't about a Supreme Court decision. It's about an economy that's been in the tank for 4 years. It's about a $16 trillion debt, $51,000 debt for every man, woman, and child in America. It's about Obamacare, which is going to wreck the best health care system in the world. It's about a $780 billion stimulus package that was supposed to bring unemployment down below 6%. It's still up at 7.8. This president said if he didn't cut the deficit in half, he didn't deserve a second term. I'd like to see Americans help him keep his word.
Here's what I want to know as somebody, I've grown up conservative. I'm from Montana, obviously. Like, how can the Conservative Party not do a better job of showing the American people what Barack Obama has done? Because the thing, like you said, he came in and said, this is what I'm going to do, this is what's going to happen, and then at the end of the 4 years, most of this stuff didn't happen. But for some reason, the Republicans aren't showing people are going, well, maybe he just needs 4 more years. It's like, well, that's not how it works. You don't just get like a bonus 4 years to try again.
Well, I think that the American people are going to probably render a verdict. It's going to come down to a few states. The president is likable. American people like him and his family. But the failures have been enormous. And I want to remind you, the first 2 years, the president had overwhelming majorities in both houses. And he had 60 votes in the United States Senate, which is what you need. John Tester was the 60th vote every single time. Never once on any of these big spending, budget-busting measures that they rammed through without a single Republican vote through House and Senate for the first 2 years of the president's majority. That was John Tester was right there with him every step of the way. It's interesting and weird to look at there. One of the things, like you said, you spoke about the president's likability, and I think that is a big thing for him, is that it's hard to hear him and not believe him just because he's it's a great
so
success
likable.
Story. Yeah.
And here's one of the things, though, I'm wondering, one of the things that goes against you, Denny, what a lot of people are saying is they say Tester's so likable because he's like a farmer, and they think he's like a Montana guy, and they see you as a politician rather than as just like a normal Montana guy. Why do you think that is, and convince people otherwise?
Well, he tries to play that up, and the fact of the matter remains, I'm fourth generation on the same ranch. And one of the reasons I ran for office in the first place is when my grandmother passed away, then my great-grandmother 2 years later, as a result of the death tax, I lost a third of the ranch, our home, our corrals, our barns, just to pay the down payment on the estate tax, and then I and my sister had to go to the bank and borrow the rest. It took my wife and I, after we were married and took over the ranch, 20 years to pay that debt off. We spent the first 20 years of our marriage building our family and having to rebuild a small business. We didn't have corrals, we didn't have barns, I didn't have a centralized water system, and so I was driving back and forth from Billings up to the ranch every single day. I ran for office for that very reason. I said no family ought to have to go through this. Our tax structure is so screwed up in this country. I want to make a difference. And so, for the first few years, I was a citizen legislature at the Montana House. We served 90 days every other year, and then I was right back on the ranch ranching. He's trying to portray and sell himself as something that I am as well. I come from agriculture. I love agriculture. I know it inside and out. But I also take my job seriously in Washington, D.C. You sent me back there to try and build a more secure future for the families of Montana, put people back to work. And there's nothing professional politician about me. I get in there and I try and be a rabble-rousey, create some disruption in the government, because I think that the government is the problem. And John Tester, while he may look like a farmer, goes back there and acts like a bureaucrat. He votes for the unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. that are going to shut the Corette plant down, costing us 35 jobs and taking $10 million out of our economy. That's not what the people of Montana wanted. I travel all 56 counties continually, and as I had 36 hearings on the health care reform, by the way, Senator Tester had not one single open public town hall meeting on the health care, on Obamacare, before he voted on it. They had one select by invitation only meeting up at Bozeman with President Obama, where they answered 8 questions. And I continually traveled to Montana, and Montana said, don't do it. And so I've been the one out listening and learning and trying to help. And so people in Montana know it. We're doing very well in this election. I'm feeling not extremely confident, but I think ultimately, when it comes down to it, the people are going to choose the path of less government, of getting the government off the backs of small business and individuals. that message is resonating. And frankly, when I ask people, what percentage of the time does John Tester vote with Barack Obama? The crowd yells out 95% of the time. It's a fact.
They're getting it. They're getting the message. A lot of people on the text line are asking. They want to know what the situation is because the new ad just started running too with the fire lawsuit. How do you sum that up? A lot of people just see that as greed and how could you do that? How do you explain to somebody that just said, how could you sue the firefighter?
The irony is, I've been traveling the state of Montana the last 2 years in this campaign. The only one that's ever brought that issue up is Senator Tester. He wants to do everything he possibly can to divert attention away from the issues that matter most. The lawsuit was not for money. Even the Billings Gazette put on the front page that it was not. It was about a policy change of getting a good wildfire policy in place here in the city of Billings. The issues are what people want to talk about, how things affect their lives. And it's a failed stimulus that didn't create the jobs. It's about a tax policy that is backing us into a tax increase corner, the fiscal cliff that's coming up at the end of the year, the massive cuts that will occur without adequate consideration through sequestration. They want to know why John Tester voted with Barack Obama 95% of the time, and we don't agree with those issues.
There was a little bit of a fight at home after the lawsuit, though, right? Weren't you a little upset with Jan? Weren't you like, really? I got an election here. Really?
Every once in a while you have to do the right thing, and the right thing is trying to hold the city responsible for a lack of a policy that can't affect us now, but may affect someone else. Now, do you want that same thing to happen to your property? So all we're trying to do is, one, get answers, and two, make sure there's a policy in place that people are safe and firefighters are in place. But like I said, literally nobody over the course of the last 2 years has brought it up until John Tester did, because he wants to divert attention. And we call that the squirrel theory, where we say, John, what do you think about Obamacare? And he looks over in the corner and says, look, squirrel. He's trying to divert attention of the issues of taxation, of the spending, of the unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. pumping out new regulations, of the fact that he says he voted against all the bailouts. Oh, by the way, you voted for the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac bailouts. You were responsible for the AIG bonuses, and we can go on down the list, but the Corette plant here in Billings is the best example. The company said, don't vote for those regulations. If you do, we'll have to shut our plant down. The Chamber of Commerce asked them not to. The Billings Chamber of Commerce wrote them a letter. The Montana Farm Bureau met with them and pleaded with them not to vote for those regulations, and he did it anyhow. It's going to be mothballed, costing us jobs and $10 million out of our economy. Rather than listen to the Montanans who asked him not to do it, he voted with his environmental friends, and that plant is going to be shut down. That one and plants all over the nation. Senator McCain has one in Arizona that's going to be shut down. 200 plants, and that means our utility rates will go up. And the worst part of it is, much of our economy in Montana is based upon the oil, gas, and coal activity in eastern Montana. He just hurt those industries, and as a result, he hurt the jobs that depend on those industries. That's not representation for Montana. That's why he's out of touch, and that's why I'm asking people to vote for me for the U.S. Senate, and I think I'm going to win this race.
There you go. Senator McCain, why can't you guys in Washington, you've been in Washington for about roughly 900 years.
Since the Spanish-American War.
Yeah. Right after that, you went into office there. You've been there a long time. Why can't Washington run like Montana? We've got so much money in the banks here.
Because we don't have a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution is one of the reasons. There's no forcing mechanism to force us to balance the budget. And a lot of us, Denny and I and others, have been pushing that. If we get the majority in the Senate, I think we could push through a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. And let me just remind you again, we now have gone from a $10 trillion deficit to a $16 trillion deficit, $51,000 debt for every man, woman, and child in America. Tell me one citizen of Montana, one family that doesn't have to have a budget and live with it. Yeah. We haven't had a budget in the United States Senate in 4 years. And the president's budget was put up for a vote. The president's budget, that one that was never obviously translated in the Senate, was put up for a vote in the Senate and in the House, and it didn't get a single vote. Not a single vote, zero. Not even the Democrats would vote for it. This is the kind of leadership that Obama has provided, and this is the kind of leadership that John Tester has been in lockstep with. He's been joined at the hip with him. And I don't think the people of Montana, I've been here many times, I love this state, particularly for fishing and the beauty of it. I don't think the people of Montana that I've known want a government that goes from a $10 to $16 trillion debt in just 4 years.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does. What do you think about, what if, here's a scenario, what if Denny gets in, Denny takes the Tester seat, we've got Republican control of the Senate, but we've still got Barack Obama at the helm. What's going to happen? Is it just going to be this partisan fighting for 4 more years? What's going to happen?
We'll sit down with the president. We will sit down with him in time, because we've got to avert this, quote, fiscal cliff we're on. We'll sit down with him, but we won't betray principle. But I'm pretty sure that we will win both the presidency and the majority in the Senate, thanks to Denny's efforts. But we are always willing to sit down. But we're not willing to compromise principles. And there's a difference there. Ronald Reagan used to sit down and work with people, but he didn't compromise principles. Even Bill Clinton would sit down. This president doesn't sit down with Republicans. In fact, he doesn't even speak to Democrats very much.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He doesn't do a lot of time. So you and the president don't play like pickup games of basketball ever in the afternoon?
No, not that. I have not seen a single Republican in the game, but maybe there will be. Who knows? But back finally, could I just say national security is important. I believe that Mitt Romney, like Ronald Reagan, understands the greatness of America. Mitt Romney will not go around apologizing for America the way that Barack Obama has. He believes that the United States of America has never been in a war because we were too strong. Al-Qaeda is on the move everywhere in the Middle East. They are there everywhere. There'd be Libya, Mali, Iraq is failing everywhere. And this is a failed foreign policy, which makes me fear for the future of this nation if Barack Obama is reelected. We need Mitt Romney and his leadership.
So I would ask you, Senator McCain, first. I asked Senator Tester, yes, he is a senator, Senator Tester yesterday. I said flat top or mustache. If that's the choice, flat top or mustache, which would you decide? He went with flat top.
I'd look pretty horrible in either. I'm ugly enough, but I'd have to say mustache. On occasion, I have, in my Navy days as a Navy pilot, I used to sport that, and then my friends urged me to get rid of it as soon as possible.
So you got rid of that. And
but the flat top, never.
Not a good look.
No.
And what about you, Congressman? Would you choose mustache or flat top?
I've had this mustache since 1973. It's not going now.
There you go.
Looks better on him than it would on me, I promise you.
Yes, it absolutely does. Well, it's been an honor talking to you guys. I'm sure you guys are just as sick
vote early and vote often.
Sick of the noise as all of us are, but it's going to be over soon, and we'll find out.
Well, Big J, the good news is we have more access to information than we've ever had before on our elected officials, whether it's talk radio, TV, it's Twitter and Facebook and the internet. We have more information, and so we just encourage people to go out, vote. We know ultimately people care about the direction of this country, and the direction of the country really is important this time. We can make some either right or wrong decisions. So I just encourage everybody to go out and do their civic duty and vote, and I'm asking them for their vote for the U.S. Senate.
All right. So you're saying vote for Denny Rehberg?
Yes, I am.
Just to make that clear. Okay.
I'm Denny Rehberg, and I approve that message.
Thanks, Big J. Thanks for having us on. And again, congratulations on providing a lot of entertainment for a lot of young people all over Billings.
Thank you very much. Senator John McCain and Congressman Denny Rehberg, thank you guys so much. And have a beautiful morning. We'll be back shortly.